on. And I think next time they need to exercise some maturity. For those who stayed on, it is a good thing. But also they must give a reason. For me, I don't think why all this has to have the political undertones that, you know, because the president did go there. As my colleague is saying, it's important for them to give him a good reason for why he should go there.
So should we organize another meeting to
I mean, it is, yes, it's just 1.5 years. I mean, there's still time. They have still more years to do whatever they can do. If they have a project that deserves the president to go there, they still have a chance. So I don't think there is any need for any leader to whine. Let them do something.
Ram, presidential visits are very expensive
to
the taxpayers. If you look at the amount of state machinery that is deployed for a presidential visit, it's something that you don't just pick the president and take him elsewhere. I mean, it's a huge cost. Getting the president out of Nairobi, it's a huge cost on the taxpayers. Take time and look and review the State House budget. It's quite a massive budget. In that you're having hundreds and hundreds of security officers on the ground. We're having a lot of logistics which come into place. So as much as I'm from Nyamira County and I would love the president to come, let us give him a reason to come. Exactly. Even when the Nyamira governor was for lack of a better word, whining in the leaders' meeting and saying that it's also time that the president needs to visit our county. I mean, I was just looking at him and wondering, can he just give the president a reason to come to that county? The president, as he said, is not just an ordinary clerk that you are going to pick and tell him, go here, let's tupite hapa, tuingie hapa mtaani, tuingie. I mean, there needs to be a reason. And for Nyamira County, I mean, it's an indictment. We've been on this show before with an MCA from Nyamira County. And I told him that probably the leaders in Nyamira know nothing, and the nothing they know, they do not know it well. I mean, and these are issues that are now coming out.
They know nothing.
And the nothing they know, they do not know it very well. I mean, they need to up their game and really expose the county and put the county out there.
That's quite a statement there.
I come from Nyamira County, and I think I have more experience in that county than you do. So whenever I say something, I say because those are issues that affect me every day. So the leaders from Nyamira County need to come together, and they do not need to plan from Kisii County and issue press statements from Kisii County. They need to up their game. We need the president to visit Nyamira County, but we need to give him a good reason to visit Nyamira County.
Now, the CIA Senator James Orengo, with regards to this visit, was at some point not impressed. He said, and I quote, "The Chief Justice must be told." He had an issue with the visit. And he said, he is bringing dishonor, that is Chief Justice, he is bringing dishonor to the courts, and that it was shameful to see the Chief Justice standing in line waiting to be recognized, as it paints a bad picture of the judiciary. Now, is it unworthy for a Chief Justice to attend events like this? Are there things that we expect? You are a lawyer.
I'm an officer of the courts, and actually, as Honorable Senator Orengo is. But on this one, I must disagree, because despite the office that the Chief Justice holds, that one does not actually exclude him from being a member of the public and being a Kenyan citizen. If at all there is a development project that was to be officiated by the president as it was done, I don't think there is anything that precludes the president or the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the president of the judiciary, to be there. It is only that you didn't expect that the Chief Justice was also to be in some SUV vehicle. He
was actually standing.
Yes, you didn't expect that he must also be in a vehicle and standing to wave the way the other leaders were. And even protocol. They didn't expect that the Chief Justice was to come there last or arrive together. And ordinarily, leadership is a lawful authority that comes from God.
There's something that Senator Moses Wetangula had said, that if you go to England, the ordinary man does not know who the CJ is, that you meet the CJ in his judgments or in court.
But this is not England, Bwana. Wetangula should know. Wetangula should know that this is not England.
And why are we benchmarking with England?
Why would we say that if people don't, the Britons, they don't know their Chief Justice, even as we shouldn't know our Chief Justice?
Actually,
more importantly, these judicial officers, at the expiry of their term, even when they retire, their still part of the society. So in any event that is any worthy cause why the Chief Justice was supposed to be there, there is nothing that stopped the Chief Justice. It was not that he was in a line clapping and trying to impress. You know, just the way he's saying, it has always been said that when you sit among the royals, you can only be entertained according to the degree of your smile. The Chief Justice was not smiling. I saw those photos. He was standing there just as someone that understands that in as much as this is political leadership, lawful authority comes from God. These are God-chosen people and these are God-chosen leaders. So as a person that understands that doctrine, there was nothing wrong, absolutely nothing, was stopping the Chief Justice to be part of that event, either to parade himself, to also to be in line, and to say hi and to greet. What was so quite funny, it is that they only went and picked where they were now after the event. They were trying to greet some people at certain roadside place where the CJ was also standing. But that was not the venue of the event. There was no rally there. So you cannot expect and say that the Chief Justice was parading himself. That one, he wasn't. I disagree with Senator Orengo. I disagree with Wetangula. Wetangula is also an officer of the court and a lawyer, just as I am. And sometimes, even when we are politicians and we are also judicial officers or officers of the court, then we must now try to synthesize and try to gauge the things, the comments that we make. Because as a leader, when you make a comment about a certain event, many people, many Kenyans, there are some people that will be persuaded to be thinking along that line. So we must always restrain ourselves.
Let me get it from you now.
Yes.
Do we have a problem if the Chief Justice attends an event like this?
No, absolutely not.
There is no limitation.
Nothing, because he is a Kenyan citizen.
Based
and
on
it is a problem. I have a problem with Wetangula to say, why should we benchmark with England? As this is Kenya, why can't we be ourselves? Why must, who said that England is our standard? You see, that is the problem with an African man, that we don't have our own standards. So the standards becomes other people. I have a problem with that. We must set our own standards. Yeah. And for me here, I'm saying as a leadership expert that there is nothing absolutely wrong for our CJ to be there in such events. He didn't go there in the capacity of his office. He went there as a Kenyan citizen, and I don't think there is anything wrong with that. So for someone to raise such issues, I think that we need to rethink. And also we need to know, where do our standards come from? Who is our standard? And I also would ask our leaders, can we also be careful with the comments that we make, because we influence, as he has said, that when a leader or a person of authority comments on certain issues of the country or where he's leading, there is a possibility that their people, their followers, will follow suit and then start creating problems that were not there in the first place. So I don't think there is anything wrong.
Is there anything wrong with that?
The meeting in Kisii was attended by, among others, the CJ, the Solicitor General, Nyauga from CBK, PS Permanent Secretary Mochache, among other many people. And they were there as sons of the soil.
Even we had the Right Honorable, now the envoy for the UN.
Yeah, he was an invited guest, just like Dr. Ruto, that is the Deputy President. But then the point I was making is that we had sons of the soil from there, including yours truly, who are in leadership positions. So I don't really, also, as they have said, really have a major issue with the CJ attending them. The CJ got to Kisii and went with the other leaders and received the president, proceeded directly to a leaders' meeting. From there on, driving to the hospital for the project, that is when the crowd stopped the entire team to be addressed. And whoever is trying to pick that as an issue captured only the CJ. I've not seen my photo going around that I was there parading, and you could see my photo.
But you cannot compare your standard with the Chief Justice.
you clearly saw my photo. I was also standing somewhere looking at the SUV. So I think they have just picked up a piece of it and tried to magnify something that does not exist. So I don't really have an issue with the CJ attending that function. I would have a problem if he had the mic and said, tunakubali raisi kukuja hapa na uendelee kukuja na tunataka hii barabara na hii na hii na hii na hii.
Exactly.
I would really have a problem if he uttered such.
So there is nothing that he said that was detrimental.
Nothing.
Even at the leaders' meeting, when he was called to speak, he said, I did not expect to speak. And all he said that we wish that we will have leadership which benefits the people in this country. That is all he said. So I don't really have an issue with, he made very responsible comments, so let's not blow out issues out of proportion.
True.
Have you heard the Solicitor General? He was there.
He was there. Why haven't you picked on other leaders?
And more importantly, Ram, you see, I think as our society, the way it is crafted, I think we need to start to do what we call integration, whereby we don't look at an office as something that is not part of us, that if someone is as Chief Justice, when we have even his family members, he cannot be summoned, even at a family gathering. Because you see now Chief Justice is also a person that can be summoned by his eldest brother, come here, we need to sort out this, our brother, this one need to go and marry, we need to take this dowry here and there. Then when he's summoned, he's taking that family duties, then you want to go and pick that and try to criticize the office itself. You see? So there is nothing wrong. And the way we even trying to integrate the police service now from the image of police force, the president suggested let these people now live with people. So that when you see a police officer, you don't start running away, you see someone that will shoot you or you see. But when now we are trying to equate that people don't even know their Chief Justice, doesn't mean that we should not know. Even by the Chief Justice trying to be part of that society, going when there are other issues that of development, and he was invited. We are not told, what Wetangula and Orengo are not telling us, is that the Chief Justice took himself there. And actually, that is why he was parading, actually to seek recognition. So he was an invited guest, and also a son of Kisii County, or the entire Gusii land, because actually Nyamira and Kisii you cannot differ, you cannot separate them.
You can separate them. Hey,
no, by county, no. Areba, you can separate them. That this Nyamira County and this Kisii County.
True.
But ordinarily, just the way we used to have them,
but as a man of the soil.
You said as son of the soil. What did you mean when you say
region?
No, that is what I mean.
We will come back there.
Yes, Areba. You cannot separate these people.
Areba, watch out.
We are at the top of the hour. It is now
Areba, no.
8:03 a.m. It's time for us to hook up with Doreen Arangi, who is on location. We will continue with this discussion on, because there is still more that we need to handle, even as the son of the soil gives us his comments on this. So Doreen, over to you. Where are you and what is the status on the road?
Right, a very good morning to you, Ram. And this morning I am along Waiyaki Way, just checking the situation along this particular road. And what you're seeing right now is building up of traffic. This is along Waiyaki Way. This is how it was when we got here. We've just been witnessing building up of traffic, obviously, from both private and public service vehicles. And also, something I've been able to note along this particular road is that motorists are really having a hard time navigating their way through this particular road. Probably the reason why, you know, they would say in a bit decongest the city, in as much as we have the lanes, in as much as we have footpaths, we also just need to create motorist lane. I've just been able to witness that they've really been having a hard time trying to, you know, just move in between the cars, between the cars, and you know that's a bit dangerous because bearing in mind they are carrying passengers. But but aside from that, it's just building up of traffic. This is along Waiyaki Way, and there on the other side of the road, that is the Professor Wangari Maathai Road. As you can see, it's just moving swiftly. Remember that those particular vehicles are leaving Thika Road, they're leaving all the way the CBD, just heading to Westlands thereabouts. So it's just swift moving of vehicles along that particular route. And also on the other lane of Waiyaki Way, this is obviously the lane whereby vehicles are leaving Mombasa Road, they're leaving Uhuru Highway, heading to, using the Waiyaki Way obviously, heading to Westlands, heading to the estates along this particular route. This is Kinoa, Kangemi, Kabete, and this estate are using this particular route, and the estate whereby this road serves is also a smooth sailing along that particular lane of the road. This is how the situation was when we got here. It is how it is at the moment, and we expect that particular situation to continue till probably, if I may say, afternoon thereabouts. Remember that obviously on that side of the road we don't expect traffic because we don't expect much activities on that side of the road. And also an interesting fact about Waiyaki Way that I was just able to gather is that this particular road, before it was named Waiyaki Way, the name of the road was Queen Elizabeth Way. So we might just be using the Waiyaki Way, and residents who are using this particular route might just be using Waiyaki Way Wayakiwe, but not knowing where the name came about. So then the Wayakiwe was previously known as Queen Elizabeth Way. Now remember that before most of these streets and roads got African names, they were used to be named with English names as well as Asian names. So later on, after Kenya gained independence in 1963, most of these roads began, you know, they got African names, and one of those roads is this Wayakiwe. So we commonly refer to Wayakiwe as Wayakiwe, but in 1973 is when Wayakiwe got its name Wayakiwe. So previously it was known as Queen Elizabeth Way. So this is just an interesting fact I'd like, you know, our viewers to know about the Wayakiwe, and also just you to note that in as much as the road serves, you know, the residents of Kino, the residents of Westlands, Kabete, Kangemi, the road also connects to the western part of Kenya. When I say western, I'm obviously meaning this, the Kisumu, Kisii, Bungoma. So the road not only just serves residents who live around Nairobi, but also on the outskirts of Nairobi. This is obviously Kisumu, Kisii, Bungoma, and the western part of Kenya. So just to know that Wayakiwe is not just a road that we commonly use as we head to town, as we go back to the estates, but it also just serves these residents who live on the other side of the city. So as well as you can see, just along the road, the traffic is slowly moving swiftly. It was building up.
All right, we were just with Doreen Arange. She is along Wayakiwe, so if you bump into her, make sure that you greet her. Remember, she has just mentioned something that is quite interesting there. Did you know Wayakiwe was formerly known as Queen Elizabeth Way? Or Queen, that is something that is quite interesting there along Wayakiwe. Those are the traffic updates on that road. But if at all you want us to give any update concerning whichever road that you want to follow this quiet Monday morning, 8:08 a.m. is the time, you can be able to do that using our Twitter handle. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya at KBC Television, at Ram, Aguko, and at Jane Wambui. Now it's all about iron politics. We continue and we proceed with this discussion. And Areba, son of the soil, you just mentioned something. Is there a distinction between Nyamira County and Kisii County?
Nyamira and Kisii,
apart from just being counties.
We start with the Gusii region. The Gusii region encompasses Nyamira and Kisii County. For the longest time possible, Kisii County was like the headquarters of the Gusii region, in that now Nyamira County is the small son who used to live in the mother's house. After the evolution, then the son had to live to his own house and leave the mother. Unfortunately, now he left the mother and the father with all the infrastructure, just as it's supposed to be. So the little son is trying now to hustle on his own. He has been given money, but he uses most of he squanders most of his money.
So at what point do you disagree with what Charles had mentioned?
I disagreed when he said that Nyamira and Kisii County ni kitu kimoja. Si kitu kimoja. Huyu ni mtoto na baba yake. So baba yake ako huko Kisii and the son is Nyamira.
Aya, sasa if mtu amekuja kuona baba yako, mtoto anafaa lalamike kama mwingine amekuja kuona baba yake?
You see, now these are mtoto alipotoka, the son has tried to build his own house, and when the visitors normally come to a homestead, you want them to visit as many houses as possible, including the houses of even the sons. If the son has bought a new TV, then you'll want the visitor to pass by the house to see the good TV he has. But then this son here, called Nyamira County, has used most of his money for drinking and smoking. So when the visitors have come, they don't have any reason to go to his house, because his house is still grass thatched and it's leaking. So the visitors can't sit in that house, they'll be rained on.
Wow.
Wow.
You know,
I'm speechless.
Ram, you don't lose your identity just by the mere fact that you've now left your father's house and built your own homestead.
You don't lose it.
You don't. Even you, when you now decide to go and get your own homestead, you can't lose your identity or the Agukos. So this is some of the things that Areba must know and should be reminded. Because you see, I am a son-in-law to the entire Gusii region. Actually, my wife comes from Nyamira. So for Areba to try to portray as if Nyamera and Kisi people are totally different persons from different, we even ask ourselves, the Siaya people, the Homa Bay, the Kisumu people, you cannot say, the only difference that these are south, these are central. But when you now go back to the Luo Nyanza, we will still be one. So the mere fact that now the counties have now brought some imaginary boundaries, administratively, you cannot separate. That is why he's talking about when the Sun House is leaking. If their house were leaking, and that is why they could not allow visitors to go and see, because they would expose themselves, because they would realize that this is a son that has abdicated his rod, the house is not in order, and things are thrown, the plates and the cups will meet visitors at the door. So you see now he has even now coming back to say that when the son bought a new TV, you would want the visitor to come. Yes. But now this is a son that had not bought any TV, and actually if he did, we don't have information. Nobody was told that we have a new TV that you should see how we are improving. So Areba, those are non-issues. The most important thing, the president visits the Gusii region and the Chief Justice has a duty and a role to, as a son of the soil, as he correctly put it, to be part of that delegation.
Now we are moving over to the next subject matter, in connection with a comment that was made while still in Kisii. And the president had said this, and I quote, "If Matiang'i steals, will he share the matoke?" That was what he asked while giving his speech, meaning the boiled bananas. If Matiang'i steals, will he share the matoke with you? Or if he steals, if I steal, will I share the loot with my people of Ichaweri? Corrupt individuals should not be identified by their communities. Let everyone carry their own cross. Now, that brings us to the next issue, corruption. It has been trending across the week. CSs have been accused of being corrupt. The president talked about us avoiding the aspect of tribalizing corruption, or individualizing corruption, that if someone steals, he will not be able to share it with his people. It is this person who should be said. And they said, let everyone carry their own cross. I will come to you, Betty. What is your comment concerning this fight against corruption? Is it something that we are really going to win in any time in the near future?
What excites me first, Ram, is that the fight has begun. At least we start from there. The fight has begun. And I'm excited because of the commitment I am seeing from our president. That commitment is giving me, as a Kenyan citizen, it is giving me hope. And I have a reason to wake up in the morning and know that there is something that is being done. We have several years ago when we knew that the corruption is actually eating our country, but nothing was being done. Now that the journey has begun to fight corruption, I'm excited. However, I am saying we want to see more of, these corrupt people being prosecuted. And I'm happy because what the president is saying, let not someone think that when someone comes for you, Ram, think because you come from a certain region. It's about what you have done. It's not about your tribe. It has nothing to do with your region. It has everything to do with you as an individual. And so for me, what I'm thinking is that we need to come to a position, even in this country, where even us as citizens, because also we have to be responsible citizens, where we are not saying when a corrupt CS or a PS or whatever the leader is, we don't say, sasa unaona tumeanza kulengwa. You see, that is even the citizens also joining there in the cry.
But then how do we remove that aspect of mtu wetu?
We Kenyans need to be told. I think we need a lot of civil education. I wish there's a way I can be given this microphone and go telling people, people need to allow the leaders to suffer their own consequences. Because it is true, as the president is saying, when these leaders go and steal, they don't, like now, if someone in my own community, I come from the Raka Navy, if someone from the Raka Navy decides to steal, honestly speaking, Ram, the following day I'm not going to stop going to work because he stole for himself, not for me. So the issue is this, even the citizens need to be educated enough and to understand that we need to hold our leaders responsible. So even citizens have a responsibility.
Corruption is killing the society, and we are having the Treasury CS Henry Rotich, who was questioned on Tuesday in connection with the construction of a multi-billion shilling dam. And we have the tourism CS Najib Balala, who has been questioned with regard to a construction awarded to a U.S. tour firm. Even the cabinet secretaries
are being
accused of corruption. But when giving his comments on this, Najib Balala, the CS, said that he is not corrupt, that he has not yet stolen.
Is there any leader in this country who has ever been told, even when there's evidence that they have stolen or they are corrupt, has any of those leaders taken in and said, yes, on this one I'm wrong? We don't expect them to say yes.
Then are all leaders
we
corrupt?
Don't need we are not waiting for them to say, yes, I stole, yes. We know they will fight back.
So even though the CS Balala had said that he did,
we can only the people that the authorities that are concerned with that will tell us as the investigation goes on. But me, I don't expect any leader in this country will ever accept their own mistakes and say that for sure I am wrong and I've done this. We've never had any of them stand up and say that they are corrupt.
I think where we should begin is about our constitution. Chapter 6 and actually Article 73 on responsibilities of leadership dictates that leadership is a public trust that should and must be exercised in a manner that brings honor to the nation, brings dignity to the officer holds, and gives a responsibility to serve, not to rule. What we have always missed as a country and as a people is that when someone is given that opportunity to exercise that trust, they don't do it as though they are holding that position in trust, as to ensure that whatever they do brings honor to the nation and inspires people's confidence into the officer holds.
Can we have leaders who can really
we are not sort of leaders, Ram. What has always happened is because you know that Areba or my sister here or yourself or myself has an ability. But we try to give opportunity to people that would glorify and would try to sing our praises. And when these leaders steal, remember the famous, when the Safaricom, the IPO, when the former finance minister, who is now the current KPP, member of parliament, Amos Kimunya, said, I would rather die. And since that time, there are so many people who would have wished they would rather die than to resign. And they continue stealing. What should happen? Because as he has mentioned, when the National Cereal and Produce Board scandal was exposed, we saw that quite a number of people from a particular community were implicated. But they started saying that the Kalenjins are being targeted. What they were forgetting, that Kenyans were keenly watching and realized that kumbe these people were people that when they got opportunity, they only ensure that their own people are the only people got opportunity to serve in such positions. So that when scandals come, you will realize, you will tend to think or make it to appear that a particular community is being targeted because their sons are being arraigned in court, are being questioned. Not forgetting that Kenyans also realized that this cake that they got, they only thought of themselves, so that when a cancer now strikes in or some disease, strange disease comes in the community, it sweeps the entire generation or it sweeps a particular lineage. So it is the corruption should not be tribalized. I agree with the president. When this CSS steals, there are a few of them that are my friends. You realize after 1 week they tell you, you know, my daughter was, I was accompanying my daughter to Ireland or Malta, or you know, she was going to the US, I have to accompany my family, you know, to do shopping.
There is something that you've just said there.
When they steal, they don't steal on behalf of their friends.
True.
They don't steal on behalf of whoever appointed them. They don't steal on behalf of the community. And actually, sometimes they don't even steal on behalf of their wives.
Now, there is something
they
that
steal for themselves.
If someone steals, you've talked about sharing it with his own people. You've talked about it appearing as though it is a tribal thing because they share with the people who are close to them, right?
No, that's not what he meant. What I'm saying
is that what you say?
What the maize scandal and the National Cereal and Produce Board and the fertilizer revealed was that when a particular leader got an opportunity, for example, because we saw this a fact, that so many leadership from the Kalenjin community that were part of the National Cereal Produce Board and maybe Minister of Agriculture were being arraigned on question on bags, affordable, what, those kind of things. What was exposed was not that a particular community is being targeted, but what was revealed to Kenyans in broad daylight was these people, when they got an opportunity, they only employed people from a particular region, so that when a scandal explodes, it always finds that a particular community that used that opportunity to only employ their sons were part of that system. So it was not like as though that a community is being targeted, but it was that there was a leader that only ensured that a particular people from a particular region were the only people that got such employment. So
after they got that opportunity, they shared with those people whom they chose.
They didn't share, Ram. What is happening is this. When we realized that there's fake maize that was deposited in Kisumu cereal, you realize there was Serem, there is Kosgei, there is Kiptanui. So when they started saying that our community is being targeted, what was exposed was that they were only people from a particular community, a majority of them that got employment. Not that a particular community shared the loot within the community, but was that a particular community got so much opportunity that should have given Areba from Nyamira County, Omanga from other county, my sister from Tarakaniti, Kwamudomi Njuki. What was exposed that these people got an opportunity. Then they held it so close. You know, when politics was taking root in Nigeria, I will remind you, the famous legendary writer of all times, Chinua Achebe, said that the cake is baked afresh. And now it is the time to send our sons to go and bring our share. Now, so this is a classical example where the son was sending, the cake was baked, but people were sending their sons to go and bring their share. Not knowing that the cake, when a cake is baked afresh, it is only that we must always give people an opportunity to ensure, based on their competency and ability to deliver and to serve, not to rule, to ensure that responsibility of leadership as enshrined in our constitution is that opportunity to ensure that whatever we are doing, whatever mandate, whatever slight opportunity we are given, is an ability to ensure that we exercise that public trust in a manner that brings dignity, service to the people, and brings honor to the nation, and more importantly, inspires the public confidence into the office as a whole. The moment we forget and we lose that ram, this noise about who took what, which community is being targeted, which one is not being involved in development projects, which is not being given opportunity, will not help us. The president has started and the journey is on. What we need to do, and even when we get opportunity in a platform like this, is to try to tell our people that when somebody steals and messes with people's taxes and has been entrusted to ensure that he serves, let that person go in, let that person to be questioned, let that him or her not run back to the committee and say, okay, we lose, we are being targeted, the handshake is here, now we are trying to get in and they are trying to block us. If I steal, let it be Charles Omanga. Let me carry my own cross, because most of these people, as I have mentioned, they don't even steal on behalf of their wives.
Let me come to you, Areba. They don't steal on behalf of their wives. Would you?
When the president was giving that speech, he clearly stated that if Uhuru Kenyatta steals, let me go in. If Matiang'i steals, let him go in. What it actually is trying to come out is that he's trying to tell the people that these people that we come out and say, this is our person, or rather, this is from our community, these people, they're not even sharing that loot with us. We only wait when they're being taken in, then we are paid 50 bob or 30 bob or 100 shillings. Then we get on the street and start chanting their names. And as Charles has clearly stated in that, these positions are entrusted to us, and we hold them in trust of the citizens of the country. And whichever actions that we take, then they need to bring honor. We need to serve. We don't need to rule. So as the journey has started to fight corruption, we hope that as the masses, we are not hoodwinked to think that our tribal kingpins or our tribal leaders are being targeted. Because as a citizen, what I need to do is to go to Kenyatta Hospital, get medication. I need to get accessible and quality transport. I need to get good education for my children. These leaders who steal, they disenfranchise what we are supposed to get.
Now, there is something that was spoken last month at the party headquarters of Third Way Alliance.
What is Third Way Alliance? No, at least give us a context.
It is a political party.
Oh, in Kenya?
In
Yes.
Kenya, headed by Dr. Kuru Aukot.
I know Dr. Kuru Aukot. I didn't know about that.
So he is the party leader of Third Way Alliance.
I think there is malice there.
Yeah.
There is malice there, and Areba, you will clarify what you mean by that. But there is something that Dr. Kuru Aukot had said, that the DPP has been taking Kenyans for a ride, as none of the corruption cases he has instigated has borne fruit. He does not seem to have a concrete intent to fight the vice. Do you agree with this? Is the fight against corruption something that is just a mirage? Is it real?
Well, this is what I would say. It would be really unfortunate if this is what is going to, if it's going to be a mirage, then this is really going to be very unfortunate for us. I just want to hope that those statements don't hold water. Because for me, for example, I'm actually waiting to see that, I want to see people getting jailed. And let me tell you, it's not just certain people like the That Party Alliance leader that is saying that. Kenyans are waiting to actually see this thing being actualized. Because if the president has given a mandate and shown the Kenyans his commitment to fighting corruption, the authorities that have been given the opportunities to do that should demonstrate that to the very end by ensuring there are people going to jail. Let me tell you, the day that Kenyans will see people going to jail for what they have done, the trust that Kenyans, the common mwananchi, the Wanjiko had lost in the government that have been there and are, will be restored.
There is a debate about the judiciary also being corrupt in itself.
The judiciary itself is corrupt. I mean, it has been said. I don't have the facts myself. I'm not a legal expert. I must admit that. However, it is important that even our DPP will take these cases to the very end, because it will remain just a PR kind of a function or an event if we don't see these people that he has held responsible of corrupt issues, the Maize scam, the Maize scandal, the NYS scandal. We actually, as Kenyans, we are waiting to see. And me as Betty, I am actually waiting. I'm watching, and I'm not alone. We are all of us waiting to see that these cases are concluded and there are people taking responsibilities and these leaders taken to jail.
Do you see that the fight against corruption
doesn't happen, Ram, yes, it is, let me tell you, it will totally destroy this nation.
Do you see that it is unrealistic?
It is not unrealistic. Allow me to comment on, sorry.
Yes.
I don't think it is unrealistic. We have the government sitting today has the capacity and the machinery to ensure that this is happening. And the challenge also goes to our judiciary, that they should not let us down. As Kenyans, we are looking and waiting that these cases are going to be concluded. It will be unfortunate if our judiciary or the judges are going to be, to be corrupted, not to take these cases to conclusion and jail those that are supposed to be jailed. And I'll tell you why. Because that will be, it is like taking the blood of their own brothers and sisters in this nation and drinking it to death.
There's something that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi had said, that we have heard a lot about the handshake. And he said that we demand more of the handcuffs. If we must talk about any handiwork of now, it has to be handiwork of handcuffs.
This is a topic that we hold dearly with my senior Charles here.
And also clarify concerning what you had said earlier about your statement on Third Way Alliance. You don't recognize it?
I mean, Third Way Alliance sounded like some kind of team of football players, but that is not the topic for today. It seems like a team in Massachusetts somewhere else, but that is not the topic. The issue of corruption is a topic that we hold dearly with Charles here. And we have deliberated in different quarters on the issue about the DPP and the judiciary. The first issue is that Friday arrests or chasing people around town and issuing press statements is not a fight against corruption. The fight against corruption needs to be a clear-cut fight. Collect the evidence, arrest, arraign in court. We have seen in most instances we are having adjournments which do not make sense. Why will the DPP and the DCI proceed to do an arrest when they're not ready? The Chief Justice has said before that the courts are ready. Bring suspects, and if the judge says or the magistrate says, let's proceed today on the day of plea taking, you need to proceed. But is that the case? Charles will tell you that we have appeared in court in different issues, and you realize that...
Or corruption?
Yes, others which are corruption related. And you realize that in some instance you hear, oh, the DPP file or the police file is not available. The IO has traveled, the investigating officer has a toothache, the investigating officer's cow is sick. I mean, very flimsy excuses, which then at the end of the day, they do not really portray that we want to fight corruption. We are all behind the DPP and the judiciary in the fight against corruption, but we need to get it right. Yes. Or at the end of the day, all these people we are arresting, they are going to sue the government for unlawful detention, and the government is going to pay dearly. So what I'm going to tell the DPP is that, please, collect enough evidence, have your officers ready, prosecute them. I'm sure the judiciary is going to toe the line.
Ram, it is instructive to note that at least, despite the challenges that the current DPP is barely a year in office. And we must also admit as Kenyans that just as opposed to the former DPP, who is now the Minister for Environment, Keria Kutubiko, who always was reviewing files. We did a lot of cases on NSSF, the TASIA 1, TASIA 2 projects. There were so many corrupt cases that were to be prosecuted. But we had a DPP that was always reviewing file. It is taken either from EACC to DPP, back to ACC, that this one does not meet threshold. Can we review this file? We have recalled this file. We must admit that the son of Haji is trying to do something. What we need to advise him, and actually to caution him, for the lack of a better word, is that let him have officers and build their capacities. So, but the moment that their case is taken to court, they have gathered enough evidence. That is not to say that people they charge are not corrupt or are not culpable. But because there is certain missing links and missteps in the investigative process and of the investigative journey, let us now ensure that we give him the moral support so that we don't overly or covertly criticize, but we try to advise that please, because you see now some of us, these cases we are involved in, somebody will give you a call today, or I've been summoned to DCI, can you accompany me, Wakili, you know, those kind of things. The problem and the challenge is sometimes the DPP is maybe more excited of that they are trying to, they are enjoying now celebrity status. The DCI, George Kinoti, the Haji, they are at celebrity status.
You talk about okay, so
what I mean by celebrity status is what I mean by celebrity status is many Kenyans are excited about what they're doing.
Cheering them on.
They're cheering them. Please and carry on, continue.
So we are losing focus from
So through that celebrity status, sometimes they are human beings. Sure. You might get lost and immersed into that kind of excitement that sometimes you are in a hurry to do something so that you continue being cheered while you are now at least losing it.
Do you agree with what Dr. Ekudoko had said, that it is unrealistic?
I won't agree with him that it's unrealistic. What Dr. Ekudoko should have said that you are not doing enough. Kindly please ensure that before you make any step of arrest or prosecution, ensure that you have your evidence watertight.
So
that is why I
say taking Kenyans for a ride. The way
they are not taking Kenyans for a ride. What is messing them up is the celebrity status, because their predecessors were not doing enough.
Now
we had Ndegwa Mohoro was not doing enough now as Kinoti is now doing, because at least we are seeing arrests, we are seeing prosecutions, we are trying to see certain files being reopened. You see, that is what I mean. So not that they are not doing enough, but this celebrity status sometimes as a human being, you can get so much close into it that you get carried away. That's what we are saying. What Dr. Ekudoko Aukot should have done in essence is, let us now tell Mr. Haji, Nurdin Haji, that please DPP, You are doing a good job. You have the goodwill of Kenyans, and Kenyans are cheering you up. But please, now for us that are involved in the process, because Kenyans do not go and argue or defend this people to court, we do. So let us ensure that before we do the Friday arrest, before we prosecute, let us ensure that enough and thorough, exhaustive, and sustained investigations has taken place, so that we ensure that when we go to court, no adjournments, no file is lost, no further investigation, no detain for for another 1 month, and even the DCI. What these two gentlemen are doing, we must commend them. We must not always be complaining. Now, we complain about Keriako Tobiko, we complain about Ndegwa Mohoro, we complain about the judiciary. It is also a time that let us have a reflection. Let us say, okay, please let us try to cheer them up and give them the moral support. But while we are doing that, what we are now not doing is tell them, please, as you do, ensure that everything that you do is watertight, so nobody will sue them back for illegal detention, malicious prosecution. Then Kenyan taxpayers again now pay back for when I'm maliciously prosecuted. Then again taxpayers we lose money to pay someone that took millions and interfered with the Nkare Dam in Elgeyo Marakwet, and interfered with the NOIS, interfered with maize, interfered with everything. Then these people get, if these CSS, the ones that have been implicated, come on, people like Najib Balala, these are not elected leaders that must wait for the appellate processes to be exhausted. The mere fact that you are suspected, the misapprehension that there's something that might have gone wrong. Let these people not go to our media and our need to address us and tell us how they are clean. Step aside. Let the investigation be completed.
And we will keep this conversation still going on because time is not on our
side. Better close the remarks.
Okay, let's wrap things up. Matters of corruption, it's a very wide topic that we cannot be able to finish today, but we'll ensure that we keep this conversation going. Let's wrap things up. On our Twitter handle, the hashtag to use is Good Morning Kenya. Final comments, just on one thing, within 1 minute. An MP in Mount Elgon had an issue where we had a funeral and there was a fight, and there was a clip going around, and we would see the MP throwing punches. What are your comments concerning the aspect of members of parliament or our leaders fighting, especially in events like funerals? 1 minute.
It's absolutely shameful. It tells me they don't know what they're doing, and they just need to rethink who exactly they are. That's what I would say.
All right. Areba?
For long as a country, I think we celebrate mediocrity and we cheer on bad behavior and we elect this thuggish behavior. And we feel that this person, when he is able to throw chairs around, then this is the person we need. I mean, as we have clearly stated, is that these positions, we hold them in trust of the people. Are you behaving just as the people wish you to behave? Can you behave as a leader? I mean, this is not the kind of behavior we want. We see councillors and MCAs all the time abusing each other, pouring water on each other and throwing seats at each other. This is the kind of behavior that we need to condone going forward. Charles. We need leaders to be leaders of integrity and leaders of honor.
The wisdom of time demands that we end this discussion. But more importantly, I've seen so many MCAs were elected because, you know, when he was a head boy, he fought with the head teacher. So people are not elected on ability to lead and to offer that leadership, but how thuggish and how arrogant you can become. So what Honorable Fred Kapondi did is something regrettable. He would have let people, he would have calmed people down, but him himself, he had even orderlies that would have...
Just your comments on that?
So my comment is, it was unacceptable, it was uncalled for, it was unnecessary, and it endangers the spirit of good governance.
All right, thank you very much. That is just something that is a penny for your thoughts. Remember, the aspects of our leaders, it's quite interesting to know that the way we handle ourselves, both in public and in private, can affect our leadership and our system as a country. Corruption is in place. We have things to do with the fight of the maize, NYS, and many other things. Is Kenya going to win this war against corruption? Are we going to win this fight against mediocrity, even from the leaders from whichever area, regardless of the region that they come from? This conversation goes on our Twitter handle. The hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, at KBC Television, at Ram Aguko. Thank you very much, gentlemen and lady, for joining me this today. It has been awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Eye on Politics ends now. Jane Wambui is coming up next with Family Check. Do not go too far.